Hello, everyone. How are you on this fine 222 Monday? Thank you so much for being with me. I'm really excited to be doing this session tonight. So I want to thank you so much for being here and sharing your energy with me and participating in tonight's session. So really excited, like I said, to have everybody here on board, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to go through some changes, some things that are happening, and I want to take you through this and kind of go through it in a way where you can get a better understanding of what's going on. And then also my goal, whenever I do any of these, it really is about helping people, helping you kind of move forward in a positive way, understand things maybe from a different perspective, and give you information to help you move forward. So when I do these, I just always say, I'm here to share information. I'm never here to force anything or tell anybody what to do, but I want to cover a lot of different things that are going on, and I want to shed light. So I'm going to talk about things clearly and plainly. Like I said, I do that in a way just to help everybody gain a better understanding of what's going on. I'm not looking to, again, force anybody to do anything. I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but I will give you, as I said, I want to give you a good overview of what's happening right now, changes that are taking place, and give you some clarity. And again, it's important that we see things clearly. And, again, we're going through a lot right now. So we want to be aware of what's going on and how this will all shake out. So before I get started, my name is Joe Nunziata. For those of you who do not know me, I know we had a lot of people respond to this. There's a lot of interest in this topic and what's going on. And so just in case some of you are new or don't know me, I'll just give you a brief overview of what I'm doing and my background and how I've been doing this work. So I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, and grew up there my whole life in the city. Moved out to Southern California with my family in 2011. So coming on our 10th year here, we're in lovely Orange County, Southern California, very nice area. We came out here in 2011. Our son wanted to go to college. We said, let's come out. We'll do it as a family adventure. Once we got through a couple of winters without shoveling, that was it. I said, I'm done. I'm not going back to shovel snow. So we really enjoyed out here. Obviously, there's some issues with our leadership, but we're moving through it. So we're going to go out there and do that. But for me, I started work very young. My dad was a New York City narcotics detective. He passed on the job when I was 12. So instead of me going to college, which is something he always wanted me to do, I ended up going to work right after high school. I got a job delivering Budweiser beer on a truck in Brooklyn. That's how I started out. I was very super aggressive, and my belief system was basically about, hey, you want to be successful. I wanted to be successful. Even though I didn't go to school, I was reading a lot of books. I was always into personal development and helping, improving myself. So my philosophy was basically pedal to the metal. You go 100 miles an hour, and, that's the way you do it. You just keep working and good things happen. So long story short, because I want to give you a short version here, I ended up going through a couple of bankruptcies by the time I was 30, had a lot of ups and downs, was really kind of frustrated and upset, and decided that, I just didn't know what else to do. I was just at my wit's end, and I had done everything I could possibly imagine. Ended up going to therapy, which for me was like the end of the world because, Italians from Brooklyn, we didn't sit around our Sunday dinner table discussing our feelings. I don't know about you. That was not something we did. It wasn't like, oh, how are you feeling? Are you okay? I don't know if I ever heard those words actually growing up, are you okay? But I went and I found it fascinating. I got really into it. I started reading a ton of books. My therapist gave me a bunch of materials and audios and things to listen to. I took some courses. So I really dove deep into the psychology and loved it. Behavior and what was going on, started applying some of the different things I was learning. That led me into metaphysical work and energy work and meditation and a whole nother world. As a kid who grew up as a Catholic in New York, in Brooklyn at that time, this was like you were going into like aliens, like outer space. But again, loved it, started working on my energy, ended up working with a couple of great people, one in particular who was an enlightened master teacher who taught me the chakra system and had to clear negative energy out of the chakra system. So I started doing that on myself, then started helping other people do it. And next thing you know, I'm out here doing this work for 30 years now. So it's been like I said, I'm not a likely person growing up that I would think I would be doing work like this, but I've been doing it for a long time. I've helped a lot of people, and my mission is always to empower everybody, to really empower you and help you move forward yourself and take that power. And that's what we're going to focus on this evening. So I've been blessed to be able to do this for many, many years. My wife and I do a lot of this work together. And, you know, we have been doing it for a long time and always, again, want to help people move forward. It's really helped us a lot. I've used it in business. I've written several books. I do a lot of business consulting as well. I still do that. I go into companies and bring these principles into companies as well and show them how to utilize these energy principles. So just a quick overview, just so you know who I am, and let's get into it. I like to get right into it because, again, I'm from New York, and we like to waste any time. So we want to get in. So let's first talk about what's going on in general energy-wise. So I want to give you a quick recap so you can just understand where we are. We just came out of what is called a Mercury retrograde, which was on Saturday, February 20th. It started on January 30th. So a retrograde, when we go through a retrograde period, that is a time when energy slows down a little bit. So things kind of get a little slower. So if you notice maybe things in February have been a little bumpy or slow or things aren't moving, that's why, because we were in this retrograde period. It just ended. Now, a week or so before that, we had a new moon on 2/11, which is a 22, because 11, which even though 11 is a master spiritual number, in this case, it's 2/2. So that was kind of the beginning of this energy starting to come in. And we're also entering a new age, which I'll talk about. And now today we have the 222 portal opening. So today we have this portal that's opening. So when portals open all the time, it happens on a regular basis. Some of them are more significant than others. This one is a big one because it's coming right off the heels of this retrograde and it's launching us forward. So it's also right at the time when we're shifting into a new age, which I will get to in a few minutes. So be prepared. This is just the beginning of this energy ramping up. So just so you know, generally when we end the retrograde, the energy is a little slower for about 5, 6, 7 days. So this is going to be, even though we have this portal opening, which is going to push it a little bit, we have the full moon on the 27th, which is Saturday. Then you're going to really start seeing it ramp up. So get ready. I'm going to go through all this evening and go through all this with you as far as give you the overview of what's happening. Now, I'm going to put something on your radar. I will do something at this time because I'm always doing things throughout the year. And I'm going to give you some resources at the end of the day. Also, if you have any questions at the end when we're done, there's a couple of different options. You can see those of you online, there's a Q&A box there. You could put questions into the Q&A box. You could also, if you like, you could enter the chat. The chat is open. Everybody can see it. If you go in the Q&A box, that's a private question. I will not use your last name. And if at the end you want to speak to me, you can hit *2, and that'll open up the line, and I'll know that you want to talk to me. So we'll get on that way. So that's what we'll do. So what I want to get you ready for is the very big portal of this year, which is going to be May. This year is a 5-year. 2021 is a 5-year. So in numerology, we take the number, we break it down to a single number. So 2021 equals 5, and we break it down. 5 is the number of change. It is considered to be the master of change. So that is going to be the big portal, is going to be 555. We have 3 portals that month. I will get to that later in the year. I don't even want to go there yet because this is where we're moving toward. That's going to be the real big shift, is even more so is going to happen then, but this is the beginning. So the 222. So let's talk about, there are master numbers in spirituality and numerology, which are 11, 22, 33, 44, but the 3 first ones are the ones people focus on mostly, 11, 22, 33. So 22, which is what this is a 222. The extra 2 gives it a little more juice. 22 is a master number, and that number is tied to the master architect or builder. So that the 22 number versus the 11 and 33, I'll tell you the difference. The 22 is better equipped to operate in the physical world. The 11 and the 33 are more kind of spiritual and a little more kind of removed from the physical world. The 22 is a builder. The 22 is move forward. The 22 is very adept at working in this world. So that's why this is so important between now and May, because this is going to be building out as we go forward. And we're going to build it out as we move ourselves forward. So that's what the 22 is about. This is, again, with the 3 2s, it gives it a little more juice. I said circle 555 on your calendar, which is going to be May 5th. That is going to be the day of the big portal opening of this year. Like I said, there are 3 in that month. I'll get to those later in the year. I'm just putting them on your radar. Make sure you're on my list. I'll keep you up to date on what's going on. So right now, we look at the world, and it looks pretty, I don't know, pretty crazy. It doesn't look that great right now for a lot of people. There's a lot of contention. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of polarization. There's a lot going on right now. Although it looks to some very bleak, I have to tell you this: you have to trust that the universe has the plan. So understand, the universe operates in a plan for the highest and greatest good of everybody in the long run, not necessarily in the short run. So right now we're in a situation where we've had a very traumatic 2020 for some people. We'll talk about that too. And we come out of this. We had, of course, the election. We had all kinds of controversies. We've got people who are very upset about what happened. Other people are happy about what happened. Other people, I don't know, there's just a lot going on emotionally for people with that whole situation. But there's also the pandemic and what you believe and don't believe and what's true and not true. And I'm going to address that as well. But all these different things are going on, and it's very easy to say, wow, this looks like it's really beyond help right now. And believe me, there are days that I get up and I say, it kind of does look like it's beyond help, but it's not. This is exactly what has to happen. So everything has to happen so we can learn everything and see everything and get everything into a clear space. So that is a different issue. So I want you to be clear. Nothing is happening by mistake. So now this month we entered into what is called the age of Aquarius. This is a very big deal. So I want you to understand something. When you chose, your soul, you chose to be here during a change of age. This does not happen all the time. So just to give you an example, the age of Aquarius is going to last 2,160 years. We have not been in the age of Aquarius for over 20,000 years because each age lasts approximately 2,000 plus years. So think about it. Think about your chances of a normal life here, life expectancy, whatever it is, 80, 70, 80, I don't even know what it is anymore. It's in that range. So the chances of you being here during a change of age is huge, right? But you chose, your soul said, I want to be here for this. I want to be here for this change. Now understand, changes are not, humans are not good at changes. We're not. We resist change. We've always resisted change. We've resisted technology. We resist it. So now we're going to go, the age of Aquarius is about a couple of things that are really important. First, it's about empowerment as individuals. So it's about us feeling empowered. That is a very important part of what this transition is about. And it's also about oneness. It's about coming together and realizing that we are all one. We are all one energy. We are in this together. And if we hurt another, we hurt ourselves. So this is something that's very important as we move into this new age. Now, I know some of you may say, well, I practice that or I believe in that. I'm not seeing people act that way. In this new vibration of the age of Aquarius, this just happened in February, it's just happening now, you're going to start to see things shift. And things that worked before for people or things that you saw that said, wow, I don't really agree with that, or I can't believe that person was able to do that, or maybe people were unscrupulous or whatever the case may be, you're going to see a different shift here in the age of Aquarius. But a lot of this is about empowerment. So it's about us owning the power we have within ourselves. That is a very important part of the age of Aquarius. It's about not feeling like you're weak and a victim and you can't do anything. You have the power within yourself. So that is going to be a very big theme of moving forward this year. So if you don't feel that way, and if you feel like, you know what, I don't feel empowered, it's okay. You will get there. But understand that's where you're going. And it's also about being together, understanding that we are all together. Now, there may be people, because the vibration of energy that is shifting here very quickly, you may be feeling like, I don't feel like I jive with certain people. That's okay. Because it's not about, in human form, this is what happens to us. As humans, we're going to always be in a situation vibrationally where we may not say, I don't feel comfortable around those people, or I don't feel like I jive with those people. It doesn't mean you're supposed to go there and try to force that issue. It means accept it and move where you're supposed to be. Get around vibration and energy where you're supposed to be. Certain people came here to be in pain right now. It's not good or bad. It's just what their soul came to experience. those people who came to be in pain, and that is something their soul has to do, you can't fix it. So if that's what they're choosing and that's the road they have to go down, you have to let them go down that road. You're not here to save them. Your first person you have to save is you. So I want you to understand that as you're going forward in this new age and this higher vibrational age. So as I said, it's a time of empowerment and it's a time of oneness. I want you to look at every person with tremendous love and understanding, even though they may be doing things that you don't like, or they may be doing things that upset you. I want you to only send love to everybody. So the other day, it was about a couple of weeks ago, I go to the supermarket and I'm standing on the line, and I only had a couple of items, so I had one of the little, the hand basket thing, and I'm just standing there. You're standing on the line. It's not like an exciting thing. I'm standing on the supermarket line, and this guy in front of me turns around. He spins very quickly, and he pointed his finger at me, and he said, "You're not standing on the sticker." The stickers that are on the floor. And, I was kind of like, oh, or, I guess my back heel was on the one sticker. I wasn't squarely on the sticker. And I said, boy, I've come a long way, because back in my Brooklyn days, I would have decked that guy once, and I would have knocked that guy out because it was so crazy. But I was just like, I felt bad for him because I knew he was in such fear to be out, that a person standing not on a sticker, this is what's happened. I'm going to talk about this too, but this is where we have moved to. But I sent love to him because I knew he was in fear and I knew he was in pain. So this is what has happened because we're being moved around here, but we're going to get to that too. So we're also coming out of slavery. So we have been slaves basically for thousands of years. I don't know if people realize it. They think they're not, but they are. So when you look at the world, basically, energetically, now I always look at everything from an energetic position. I don't look at it from the third dimensional position of what's going on. I'm looking at it from a higher space. So if you go back thousands of years, 5,000 years ago, go back, the system is basically never changed. You've got a small amount of people with all the money and power. The only difference was back in those days, the slaves had chains, and there are still parts of the world that have actual slavery. So the only difference for us is we don't have chains, and we're not walking around, in that circumstance. But make no mistake, you have been a slave. You have been manipulated and pushed into a situation basically to be a slave. So I always make a joke. I say we're slaves with carpeting. We don't think we're slaves, but we are. So we have to understand that we're coming out of the matrix now. So we're going to move into this empowerment where all of a sudden the balance of power shifts. You have to remember, you have a very small group of people that are controlling everything. They have all the money. These are very influential families. This is generational wealth. They've been called many different things. They've been called the dark side. They've been called evil. They've been called the Illuminati. They've been called a lot of different things that are trying to control and manipulate the world. You have to understand that this has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. These people want to hold that power. They're not going to just give it up. So understand, part of us, as we empower ourselves, we shift the energy. We don't have to do anything violent because it's not necessary. We just have to shift the energy that we're holding, and the energy automatically will shift over. I want you to understand the power of you, the power of your energy, and the power of what you have. So we're going to go back to power to the people. It's going to be back. John Lennon, who was a visionary, right? He had the Power to the People song. He had Instant Karma. John Lennon was so far ahead of his time, and he was here to plant seeds for us. But we're going to have power back to us, the people, where we are all going to be empowered to create the life and circumstances that are best for the greater good. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And I'm not saying that you have to remember, think about this. If dark forces, if people have had control and power and been able to manipulate everything for thousands of years, this didn't start last week. This has nothing to do with what's happening now. This has been going on forever. So thousands and thousands of years, we have had this situation going on, and little by little now it's starting to turn. And you're going to see more and more things that'll be indicators of this. Just keep your eyes open. You'll start to see it happen. And we are now going to be empowered, and we will have the ability by shifting enough people to higher energy to make the changes happen organically. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen, but we're going to have to stand up. So this is going to be important as we go forward and how we move into this world. So what is the pandemic's role in the story? The pandemic is part of this whole situation. So what did it do? Now, first of all, I'll get into what the pandemic is in a little while, but it impacted us just because of what happened and the way it happened. So the first thing it did was it slowed everything down, right? It slowed us down. All of a sudden, people couldn't go to work. All of a sudden, you couldn't go anywhere. You had to stay in your house. You couldn't go to. People lost their jobs. People lost their businesses. It forced people to stay at home with their families. Some people liked it. They said. Some people didn't, right? Let's be honest. That's the way it worked. It also showed us how we are being manipulated because we saw what happened politically where we became manipulated in a circumstance. We were used as pawns in a game. And we saw this happen. And we saw the government react in a certain way. And we just saw the way this happened across the world, right? And we were forced into circumstances. So we were moved into different situations, in some cases forced into different situations where all of a sudden you had to make an adjustment. And we had to adapt. Now, some people did not adapt well. Some people were able to make an adapt to the situation. Some people were not. Some people really had a hard time. We had a lot of people, as much as does this exist? Yes. Is this real? Is there some kind of virus? Yes. Is it what we're seeing? It is not. And we'll get into that as well. So it's going to be this also, though. It gave us a time to be quiet, which we needed desperately. We're running around like maniacs with chickens with our heads cut off, trying to work and do a million different things and keep our calendars full and do all these things. So it forced people that, especially that first, well, I remember out here, that first couple of weeks in March, remember it's coming up on a year now, believe it or not. Next month will be 1 year ago that this happened. It was the middle of March where we had the 2 weeks when they shut everything down. Then they said another month, that whole month of March and April, everything was very, it was shut down. Now, I will tell you, me personally, I was out and about from day one. My meditation work and what I was seeing was telling me something different. But I was not in fear. I was being careful, but I wasn't being reckless. But I was just walking around. I was seeing what was happening. So, but it gave us an opportunity. Now, just because it gave us an opportunity to be quiet, it doesn't mean we took it. Some people did, and they said, wow, this gave me a chance to look at my life. This gave me a chance to really kind of slow myself down. This gave me a chance to maybe make some changes that I've been wanting to make and move myself into a different space. So it expanded fear and faith. So if you are fear-based, so let's understand one thing about humans. Human beings are fear-based. Okay, we are all fear-based. So because we are fear-based, when something like this happens, you have to remember we're already there. We're already in fear. And it's nobody's fault. The bottom line is, because we are humans and to stay in third dimension, we need fear. If you had no fear, you would vibrate at such a high energy that you could not stay here. So we all have some fear. Now, obviously, we all have different levels of fear. Now, you have to remember, all the people who are very fearful, this was the greatest thing that ever happened to them because it gave them a feeling of validation. Yes, look, I'm afraid of everything, and look, this is what's happened. So the people who are in a lot of fear, it allowed them to almost come together. I watched people who just love this. They're loving this whole situation. Why? Because it's validating their fear that they were already living in. Now it just made it okay. Now, the other side of the coin, we have people who became more faithful. If you got quiet, if you looked at yourself, if you looked at the situation, and if you allowed yourself to say, I'm going to use this as a time to really expand myself. Is that something that you did? So again, we're not looking at this as good or bad. It's just what happened here? So the question you have to ask yourself is, what did this do for me? What changed for you in the last year? Because we're looking at it's about a year right now. Right, we're looking from the middle of March until now. It's about 1 year ago that this really started. And how are you different as a result of this situation? And how are you different as a result of what you have experienced? Have you changed? Have things gotten better? Some people, things have gotten much better. I know it sounds crazy, but for a lot of people it has. Things have gotten really better. And for other people, not so much, right? Other people, but that was part of the experience that they had to have, that their soul came to have. So again, this was an opportunity for people to look at themselves a little differently, look at how the world is, and take some quiet time for ourselves to really go down deep and really look at our own selves and go forward in a different way, maybe make those changes. And I would compare it as a person who was in New York during 9/11. I was actually at the airport waiting to get on a plane. I was sitting on a plane, actually, and the plane didn't take off, of course, because that's what happened. But it was almost like at that time at a smaller scale, because it wasn't global, there were a lot of people who I talked to who were in New York, who were on Wall Street or doing different jobs, who said, you know what, I realized after this that, and they walked away from lucrative jobs. Some people worked in banks or whatever, and said, I realized this is not the life. I don't want to go out this way. And it changed their lives. Now that was like an eye drop compared to this, because that was very just here in the U.S. and it was mostly in New York and obviously Washington as well, but mostly affected here in New York, the New York area. But for us, this is similar because it gave us an opportunity to look at that and look at this going forward. So the 222 portal is the beginning of the shift. This is the beginning. Now, the shift was already happening, but this is going to be the launching point as we move into this age of Aquarius. This is really the beginning of the turn, and the turn is going to be wild. So I'm saying it only because I want to tell you what's really happening. I don't want you to think, oh, this is going to be a nice, easy joyride right through. Again, change is always challenging. It's funny. I keep seeing Lincoln's face in my meditation, and I was just saying this to my wife the other day. I said, I'm meditating, and every once in a while I just keep seeing Lincoln's face. And I said, why do I keep seeing Lincoln's face? It's because Lincoln went through a tremendous change here, right? And again, I can relate to that as a person who grew up here, but of course across the world. But Lincoln, it was very tumultuous. It was not smooth. There were a lot of people hated Lincoln. People hated that whole situation. There were people who wanted to keep slavery. They wanted to secede from the Union. So it was disruptive. Now, in the end, it ended slavery in the United States. But it was not a smooth ride. So I want you to be prepared. This is going to be bumpy. But we're ready for it. Don't worry about it. So get ready to ramp up. So things are going to start to move much faster. So this is not about positive, negative. It's just about how things are going to move forward. So the energy is going to start ramping up. Right as I said, you're going to start seeing it a little bit this week. By next week, by the time we hit March, be ready. It is going to start to pick up some steam. So here's what's going to happen, and here's what I want you to be aware of. Your truth and your intentions are going to be accelerated. Okay, so this is going to be the key. So the reason I say this to you is whatever is your truth and whatever your intentions are going to be exposed and they're going to be amplified. So if you're in good space here, this is going to be a great time for you. If you're in good energy, your truth is positive, your intentions are good, these things are going to move very quickly, even if you have struggled for years, even if you say, wow, I've been doing this work on myself and I've been really trying to improve my life and I've put all this energy and effort into it and I'm still, going through some difficulty because the energy was different. Now is going to be a time that it's going to be good for you. So remember, you have to be in alignment with your truth. You must be in alignment with your truth. And think about when you're doing something, I want you to ask yourself, what is my intent? What is my intention? Why am I doing this? And I want you to be very clear about that and be honest. Because if you're not honest, it doesn't work. So, and this is also going to force things up in you that are going to make you uncomfortable. Because you're going to say, wow, my truth really is this. I really don't want to do this, but I'm doing it because I am in this space. So I want you to be very clear before you do something. Say to yourself, what is my truth? What is my intention? So as this energy, because it's moving faster, this is going to be like a boomerang. Now, what I mean is you're going to throw it and it's going to come right back to you. So if you put out negative, it's going to come back to you super fast. You put out positive, it's going to come back to you very quickly. It's not going to be like before where people did things for a long time and whatever it was and they dragged it out and people, they caused pain and suffering. This is going to come around very quickly, one way or another. So as we continue to progress, this is just the beginning of the speed up. but I'm already seeing it myself, with other people. I'm seeing it already. I'm sure you are too. So everything that you're putting out there, every thought, every feeling, every intention, things that now listen, we're humans. It doesn't mean you're never going to have a bad thought. It doesn't mean you're never going to have a negative feeling. It doesn't mean something's not going to upset you, because of course, we're humans. You can see, listen, I watch TV. I don't really watch news anymore because really it's not news, but I'll just watch it just to get a few minutes in the morning, just to see what's happening, make sure, the world didn't end today, and just see what's going on. But I mean, there are certain things that you just scratch your head and you're just like, what are we doing here? So, but again, I don't want to put negative towards it. I don't want that. It may bother me, and it's okay, but I don't want to put negative energy toward anybody or anything, because I know it's going to come back to me 100 times better. I want to say to myself, how do I turn this around and make it positive? So the other thing that's going to cause you a lot of pain will be judgment. So there is no judgment. In the world of energy, there is no good and bad. There is no right and wrong. It is what it is. It just is energy. Whatever you're feeling is your soul feeling what it needs to feel. So when you place judgment on another person, you may not like it. Now, here's the deal with judgment. I want to be clear. It doesn't mean you like it. It means it may bother you, but you don't want to place judgment on it. That's the difference. All right? I don't want to place judgment on it. Now, I may say I disagree with that, and I'm going to do the opposite, but I'm not judging you. Even if I I may say, you know what, I disagree, which I'm allowed to do, and I'm going to do this. But I'm not judging you for thinking that. This is why we're getting in trouble now, because we're not allowing each other to say, you know what, that's okay. You're allowed to have that opinion and go on your merry way. So this is where we're getting in trouble, because we're not allowing each other. Hey, you know what? I agree with you. I'm allowed to not agree. But on the other side of the coin, I don't want it for your beliefs. Because when I see people like this guy who yelled at me in the Super Bowl, who are so fearful, I don't want to judge him for that, because I know he is so afraid that is all he knows how to do. That's the only way he knows how to deal with the situation, is in tremendous fear and by lashing out at people because he's so afraid. But I don't want to place judgment on him. Now, I don't agree with him, but I'm not going to judge him for it. So be aware. Again, I'm not saying you agree. I'm not saying you lay down, but you don't judge it. You have to understand compassion is critical. You want to be compassionate, because you have to understand the people have been hypnotized here. I'll talk to you about that too. But this is something I want you to be cognizant of, because as humans, we're 100% judgmental. That's all we do. We can't help it. Even if we like something, it's judgment. So I want you to just be aware of that negativity that you're judging somebody, because, again, they are doing what soul came to do. So as we continue to elevate, the light and dark cannot coexist. We're going to be in a situation where those of us who are doing this work, who want the world to be better, those of us who are focusing on that story, we are not going to be able to coexist with people who came here to be in the dark. Now, understand, this world that has been created for our amusement, by the way, that's why it's here. This world is designed to have polarity. So we can't have polarity if everybody is the same, right? So that's what happens when you leave here. When you leave here, you cross over, you go into a blissful state, and you don't have any of this stuff. But here in the physical world, in the third dimensional world, this is about polarity. We're here to have an emotional journey. I can't have an emotional journey if I'm always kumbaya-ing it up. It's not going to happen. So we're here to have dark and light. So understand, and again, it's not a judgment. It's just using it as a reference of how we see things. So understand that those of us who are going toward the light, those of us who want to see the truth, those of us who want the world to be better, we have a different agenda than people who want to be in fear, who want to be fighting, who want to be upset. It's a different agenda. Now, again, I'm not judging the agenda. It's just different. And what this is, as you're vibrating up, you're going to just start repelling people who are in that energy, because you can't coexist. The energy now is moving too fast and it's going too high. So you'll be able to coexist with somebody who's in that lower vibration of energy. You're not going to be able to do it, because that type of feeling of fear, you're not going to be able to coexist with them, because it just is not going to work. And eventually you'll make a decision, or it'll just organically happen. where you just know that those things will be separated automatically. So the good news is this is harvest time. So what I mean by that is there are a lot of people, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've gone through my moments of losing faith and feeling like, wow, I've been walking this path and walking this road for all these years, and I'm still seeing, a bit of a mess out there. So, it's been difficult at times. There were times, luckily, I am blessed with an amazing wife that we are together, and we do this work together, and we support each other. We have a beautiful son, and the rest of our family we don't even really talk to. Luckily, we have our nucleus, and some people don't have that. I always feel very blessed, but we've been able to hold it together, I think, partially because of that. And I think that's been a tremendous asset for myself and for my family. And I always every day get up and I feel very blessed. And we are now moving into the harvest time. So the harvest time is you've done all this work, you've held your ground, you've been a good person. This is going to be the time for you to reap the harvest. Now, I don't just mean money, because I know that's the whole way we, of course, always focus everything here, and especially I know we have people on this call from all over the world, but I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about health. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about passion. I'm talking about purpose. I'm talking about you really getting into a space where things move in a positive way and you connect to what you're supposed to be doing. The other day I was watching a documentary about Mavis Staples, if you know the Staples singers, and a million great songs, I'll Take You There. And, I was a big R&B fan growing up, and she was around that time. And she's 81 years old. And they interviewed her, and she's on the show. It was within a year ago, so she was like 80 or whatever it was. And she's still doing shows, and she's out there singing. And she said, you know what? She said, I will be singing until the day I leave here. And then when I leave here, I will be singing in heaven. You could see the feeling of love as she said it, because she's so in alignment with what she came to do. And this is where, now for some of us, for her, luckily, she grew up in a musical family. Her father was in the original Staple Singers, was the father, and the siblings were in the band. So this was her karma to be in that environment and grow up in that space. A lot of us had to go through a lot to get here to this place of feeling aligned or feeling like we're finally getting into the right space. But understand, regardless, that was your journey. She had a different journey than you, but it was just so beautiful to see her reaction to where she was in life, and like, hey, I'm not retiring. In other words, I love this. This is why I'm here. I'm doing this until they put me out, and then I'll go on the other side. I'll do it there. It was just really emotional to watch it, I have to tell you, just to see what's going on. So let's talk about moving forward. So one of the things about me, if you don't know that, doing this work, I'm not one of these airy-fairy people. I know we're living in a physical world. We need strategies. We need tools. We have to be able to move forward. We have to understand what we're doing. It's not just say, get up every day, love everybody, be happy. No, you've got to go beyond that. This is not what it's about. That's part of it. But we are also living in this physical experience, and we need to understand that. So moving forward, to stay in the positive energy, I'm going to just kind of reiterate this a little bit, but also give you kind of a checklist of things. And this is recorded, so if you want to go back, look at it, write it down, feel free. But I'm going to send this out to everybody. But positive side, pure intention, right? We talked about it before. You must have a pure intention. Love-based feelings. Why are you doing something? Is it with a love-based feeling? Be in acceptance of the situation. I'm not saying you have to like it, but you're in acceptance. This is going to be a big one for everybody, because this is where we're really going to either take off or not. You have to let go of the past, and you cannot hold on to these old things that maybe you're still holding on to. It could even be, maybe you're beating yourself up because you say, wow, I made mistakes. Or maybe you say, oh, I should have done this differently. Oh, I could have been here by now. You've got to give it up. Or if you're still holding negative energy or feelings on people you grew up with, or your parents, or different people that you still say, I'm still not over it. I'm still holding on to it. This is going to be an important time to let this go, because this is going to slow you down, and it's going to move you into a place that you don't want to be. We're here to be of service, so you want to be of service. What are you doing? Now, it doesn't mean, you're just being of service for no reason. We also have to receive. And I think this is an important part for us to understand. And I think a lot of us grew up and we are not good receivers. I was not. I went bankrupt twice by 30, not because I was a good receiver. So understand something. You're allowed to receive. You're supposed to receive. So that's important. It's not just, hey, I'm being of service, but I have to receive too, because the universe wants balance. If you are only giving, you have no balance. If you only give, you're going to run out of energy. You're going to run out of steam. You're not going to be able to go forward. So understand that your ability to receive for whatever it is that you do or whatever's going on, I'm not saying you can't give. I'm not saying you don't help people. But understand there are two sides to the coin, and you must receive. So let me talk about the negative side, and these are things you want to avoid. Fear-based actions. If you are doing things because you are in a fear base, that is going to cause you a pain. It's going to cause you to slow down, and it's going to put you into a negative space. I'm not talking about being safe. You understand? Different. Fear-based actions are things I'm doing because I'm just in total fear. Another big one is fear of loss. Fear of loss is probably one of the things that creates the most pain for us as humans, because we are afraid that if we do something different, we're going to lose something and we don't move forward. So you've got to let go of fear of loss. You know, when I train salespeople, it's one of those things that I go through with them all the time. And I say, you cannot be in there being afraid to lose the deal, because you're putting out fear-based energy. It's the same thing for us. Do things that feel good. Don't be afraid of losing something. Now, you may say, well, it's my family, and these are people, and I'm not getting along with them, but what am I supposed to do? If I change and I start moving in this direction, what will happen? I don't know. But the bottom line is you have to focus on elevating yourself. So you cannot be in a state of a fear of loss. That is going to slow you down. Resistance, I talked about acceptance. That's the opposite. If you're resisting change, you're resisting new things, you're resisting the truth, you are going to be stuck. Now, there's the old saying, right? The truth hurts. They say that for a reason, because sometimes it does. Again, what I talked about earlier, if you're holding those old negative beliefs, that will slow you down. And one of the biggies that really stops everybody is being a victim and being a martyr. So if you're going to be in a victim space and a martyr space, and you're going to refuse to change, and you're going to sit there and say, look at poor me, and I can't get a break, and I can't get ahead, and my life is terrible, well, you're going to hold yourself in that space. So you've got to be so vigilant right now with every thought, every feeling, everything you're doing, that it's in positive space. Now, again, we're humans. No one's 100%. You've got to try to stay in that space most of the time. Because the bottom line is this: if you're in that space 90% of the time and you slip back a little, that's okay. But you know what? If you're in negative space 70, 80% of the time, you can't recover from that. You're not going to be able to, will not be able to make that up. So this is the vigilance that you have to have. So as we go through this and this new energy comes in, you're going to physically also be adjusting to this energy. So I just want to prepare you for the physicality of it, because we are physical. We're physical beings. So we do have a physical element to ourselves. So there's a couple of things you may experience in your physical body depending on where you are in this journey of energy. So you may get headaches. It could be body aches. You could have trouble sleeping, or you can't sleep. I've had both. I've had nights where I'm up all night, I can't sleep. I've had days where I can't get out of bed. There are also cold and flu-like symptoms, not COVID, but just feeling those feelings. Ear ringing is another one where you say, wow, my ears are ringing like crazy. Also, feeling like your body is vibrating. So there are nights that I lay in bed and I can't sleep, and my whole body is vibrating. And I know it's because I'm absorbing all this high energy, and my body is just trying to say, I can't. It's hard for me to bring it in, because you're trying to bring this high vibration into a physical body, or as some of the other teachers call it, a meat suit, which I think is great, right? We have the meat suit because the meat suit is just what we came to have this life, but our physical bodies are trying to absorb all this high energy. So sometimes our bodies have to remove that dense energy, and we have to strip that out, and we have to kind of pull it out of ourselves, and it goes through sometimes some of these physical symptoms that you may be experiencing. You may be experiencing them already. So if you are, know that this is what's going on. So one of the things that will really help you now will be meditation. So meditation is very important right now, is to get quiet and pick it. I'm going to give you a couple of meditation tips. If you are a meditator, great. If you're not, a couple of things. Now, meditation is just get quiet. I'm not saying you have to do a whole ceremony about it. The bottom line is, now I have a meditation altar and I have candle. I have a whole setup because that's me, and I've been doing this forever. But the bottom line is just get quiet. Pick a time and get quiet. I love to do it first. I always get up very early in the morning. I do my meditation first thing in the morning. I usually do, I'll do sometimes in the evening as well. But I want to sit down and get quiet, because part of it is also by getting quiet, what you're doing is you are allowing that energy to come through you, and you're allowing that energy to settle into your higher vibration, right? You're allowing it to come in. So you're allowing it to come through your crown. I'm going to put out a couple of meditations in a week or so. I'll send them out to everybody as well. So I want you to start. Now, here's when you meditate, the optimum way to do this is to sit on the floor somewhere. So pick a spot where you live and say, this is going to be like, I have a spot. I have my altar set up. I have a certain spot where I sit. I have a pillow behind me. So you want to sit on the floor. You could lean on a pillow or a bed or whatever you have there. So that's going to be your meditation spot. Because what happens is your brain then says, oh, when I get there, that's my spot. That's my spot to get nice and calm. So that it knows that before you even get into that spot. So that's going to be your meditation zone, as we like to say. So get up in the morning, be quiet, set your intention. Be aware of how you feel. What am I feeling today? Am I feeling fear? Am I feeling love? What is it that I actually feel? What is it that's running through me? How do I feel right now? This is important. And again, there are no good or bad feelings. Your feelings are all there to tell you what you need to do, right? So if you're feeling something that you know, I have to work on that. Wow, I'm feeling a lot of discomfort or fear. I'm feeling upset about something. That's your soul telling you, hey, go work on that. That's something that needs attention. But if I don't get quiet, I can't get there. So every day, and here's the deal. People ask me this question every single day, I feel like, oh, Joe, how long do I have to do it? I said, it doesn't matter. It's really more consistency than length. So it's really about being consistent with what you're doing and not being, doesn't matter. You know, there are certain, and I will tell you this, it's kind of like exercise for those of you who do a lot of exercise or work out. There's certain days when I go to the gym and I'm Muhammad Ali. You know, I go in there and I'm killing it. You know, I'm like, wow, I feel for other days I'm like dragging myself through it. Now the gym is closed. I have to work out at home these days. But you know what I mean? There's certain days in my meditation. I get into meditation, I'm zoned in. I'm like, I have a great meditation. Other days I'm not. I'm a little edgy. Maybe my energy's a little off, or maybe I didn't sleep great. So it doesn't matter. But you know what? Do it every day. Even if you do it a couple of minutes, do it every single day. Be consistent. Get quiet. Get quiet as often as you can. That's going to be a tremendous asset for you as we move forward. So I want to go through a couple of last things here. And again, I'll be happy to take some questions. If anybody has a question, please feel free to hit me up in the meditation area, in the chat area or the question box. Please send in your question. Like I said, I'll be happy to answer live questions as well. So here's a couple of things I want to be very careful with. Do not let yourself be manipulated by all the propaganda. We are being barraged with misinformation all over the place. Now, I personally meditate a lot on truth to see what's really going on. I also have a great network of people, and I have sources where I look for information. We have been so manipulated by this whole situation, and we have been told a million different stories. And the bottom line is, it has been a complete political play, and the whole thing has been designed to manipulate us, to separate us because we're weaker when we're separated, cause confusion, and cause separation and violence, right? Or get people against each other, get people to hate each other. That's what this is all about. So you cannot allow yourself to be manipulated. Now, all you have to do is look at what's going on. They're taking people off social media platforms. The news is not showing you 1/3 of what's really going on. You're not getting true information. Anything that comes out that's in conflict with what they're trying to pump down your throat is getting taken off social media right away. The truth that people are trying to come out, there have been doctors, there have been all kinds of information that has come out. They just want to wipe it away. And you're seeing the desire to control what you're getting, the information that you're getting. This is not good. This is exactly how Hitler started. In 1933, Hitler gave every single household a free radio. He did not do it because he was a nice guy. He did it because he knew at that time the radio was the best way to send information. So he controlled the airwaves and pumped propaganda into the people. Now, let me tell you something. If I keep barraging you with the same message day after day after day after day, and you're not a person who's going to say, I'm going to question this. You have to understand, most people follow. They follow blindly. So that is the problem. People just, everybody's doing that. I guess I'll do it. We all grew up this religion. I guess we'll just be that. When I just decided, when I was like, wait a minute, this Catholic thing is not working for me. This is like a whole big thing. What do you mean? This is what we do. No, maybe not. So understand, we've been manipulated our whole lives, and we've been conditioned to just follow. You go into a corporate job, do that. So now you have to understand, this is the same thing. So if I just keep hammering the message at you over and over again, and you're not the type of person who does say, wait a minute, I was always that type. I was always questioning everything. That's why I didn't do well in corporate, because I would go in there and they would say, this is what we're doing, and I would be the first one to say, why? And everyone would tell me to shut up and don't ask any questions, just do it. So, but that was my personality. That was all of your personality, or you wouldn't be here on this call with me. So understand, I want you to vet your information, vet what you see. You understand, don't just take this as truth. It is not. Trust what you see. This is what, you don't need all the media, social media. All you have to do is look at what's happening. So let's look at this honestly, okay, and really look at this from a clear perspective. And I have no agenda here. I'm just trying to be clear about it. So does this exist? Is there some kind of virus? Yes. Okay. But let's look at what's going on. Why? How is it possible? And I want you to look at this from a logical perspective. Big box stores have never closed. Home Depot has never closed. Lowe's has never closed. Liquor stores have never closed. Right? All these things have been open the whole time. I was out in all these stores from day one. They're all full of people. But the restaurant is closed. The hair salon was closed. The gym was closed. Why? Why are all these businesses being shut down? Why is it California, we're the last state, we still don't have indoor dining here? Why? This is not making any sense. Now, what really put it over the top for me, which I knew anyway, but I started to see, and this is what's happening. So you have to look at this and understand. They're making movies. They're making television shows. They're playing sports. They're playing college sports. So I said to someone recently, I said, let me ask you a question. Now, I played basketball in high school and grammar school. And basketball is a sport where you are sweating all over each other. They're playing football, right? People said, I said to somebody, they're playing football. Well, they have a helmet on. Okay, fine. But they're smashing into each other. But you're telling me I can't go sit in a restaurant. Now they're playing basketball games. Now young kids in college are playing basketball. And I said to someone the other day, how do you explain that? And the woman said to me, well, the kids want to really play. I said, I understand that, but if this is so dangerous, how am I letting college kids, 18, 19-year-old kids, play basketball? Follow the money. The money is where it's about. Do you know the billions of dollars that these colleges and professional sports get? They're not looking to give that up. If this was deadly to that level, there's no possible way you could allow that to happen. Yet, the way it has been manipulated to us, and people look, well, that makes sense. They could play a basketball game. But no fans could sit there, but they could all sweat all over each other on the court. It makes no sense. But again, the hypnotizing, be safe, wear a mask, don't see anybody. Then the hypocrisy where this Dr. Birx turns around, tells everybody, don't do anything for Thanksgiving, goes and visits her family. Newsom out here goes, has dinner with a bunch of people sitting shoulder to shoulder in a restaurant when he's telling you shouldn't go out. So again, follow the money. Look at what's really happening. Now we have the tests and the vaccine. I'm going to give you my feedback on this. And again, I'm only here to share this with you. I would never get a test. I would never get a vaccine. I will tell you now, I think it's extraordinarily dangerous. And I think what they're doing, they have conditioned people. It was funny. Whatever it was over 20 years ago, they started up with the flu shots. This was the beginning. You have to understand, this is conditioning people. They started giving everybody flu shots, which I never got, and I never got the flu. And people said, you got to get the flu shot. I said, why? And I started reading about it. And it said it has about a 10% chance of working on the strain that's happening at that time. I said, I'm not getting a flu shot for 10% chance of working. Why? And you're putting the virus into my body. Why would I do that? So understand, these tests and these vaccines, I see people, oh, I'm getting tested every week. Why? There's nothing wrong with you. Why are you doing that? Follow the money. Do you know the money that's involved with these vaccines? The money that's involved with getting all these people onto this thing. This is all part of the game. So I'm telling you this because I want everybody to be in the light. And I want you to, listen, you make your own decision. Listen, I see people and I'll talk to them. And I'll say to them, listen, they asked me my opinion. I said, I would never do that. I see them 2 weeks later, oh, I got the shot. Okay, fine. No judgment. That's what you want to do? Fine. But my job is to give you an opportunity to at least look at what's going on and see it clearly so you make decisions that are best for you, best for your loved ones, best for your family, and you move forward in a way that makes sense for you. Because the bottom line is, it is time. We must stand up. Now, understand something. We are spiritual warriors, and spiritual warriors are different. We are not violent. We are spiritual warriors. We are here to bring light to the world. I'm not here to separate people. I'm not here to tell people what to do, but I am here to bring the light and to try to help people see things clearly and understand that if we do not move forward in a way that is best for all of us and allow ourselves to be manipulated and move down a dark path, we're going to have a rough ride. And this is going to be bumpy anyway. So stand up for yourself. And again, I don't mean for you to do this in a violent way. I don't want to see people fighting on social media. We went out one night. There was a restaurant here that was open. They were fully open. We went out for dinner one night. I posted a picture. I said it was great to be out. All these people were out, no masks, no nothing. In California, this is not happening. So people sent me horrible, a lot of people were very positive, but people sent me horrible messages. The bottom line is this. Those of us who grew up in the United States, we grew up in a place where we were free. We could make our own choice. If you are fearful, that's okay. If you want to stay home, that's okay. If you want to get a test every day, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But for those of us who want to go down a different path, we have the right to do that. And that's really what we're fighting for. We're fighting for our right to go down the path that we choose. And we will take the consequences. I go out and whatever happens to me, I take responsibility for that. People went to war knowing that there was a chance that they could be killed to fight for this country in the United States and for other countries around the world. That was a choice that they made for others to be safe. They knew that there was a chance that they could never come back, and a lot of them didn't, right? So I'm not saying we're going to go to war like that, hopefully not. But the bottom line is we have the right to make that choice. If this was truly what we're being told it is, we would not be in this situation. There would not be a basketball game on tonight that I could watch. I don't watch it, but I'm telling you right now, there would have not been a Super Bowl. So understand, look at your eyes. The optics tell you everything that's going on. And follow your heart and be your highest and best self. When you do that, this is going to be a great time for you. Like I said, it could be a little bumpy, but we all have to pull together. We all have to love each other. We all have to be in the same space. And as we do this, then we will create the world that is going to be the best world for all of us, where we all can live great lives. But we have to work together, and we have to love each other, and we have to love even the people we don't agree with. There is no judgment. There is no negativity. Love everybody. You don't have to like them. You don't have to agree with them. Do not put hate toward those people. Put love towards every single person you come in contact with, because the people that you come in contact with, they are going through their own issues, and we are not here to judge them. So I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I kind of got here tonight, and I said I don't really know what I'm going to do as far as what I'm going to say, even though I made some slides. I knew that I wanted to just follow the energy that came through me, and that's what came through. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it to be helpful. So I want to take some questions. If anybody has a question, please, like I said, feel free. I see some coming through, so I'll get to those in a minute. I do want to give you a couple of resources before I do that. So first of all, I send out a Wednesday email every week. It's free. It's called Wednesday Wisdom. So I send out just kind of a brief overview of what's going on each week. So you can go to my main website, which is joenunz.com. And on that site, you will see a place on the upper right-hand corner or at the bottom of the page. You could sign up for that for free. Like I said, I'll be sending out one this week, so you'll get one on Wednesday. I also have a YouTube channel that I post videos pretty much every week about what's happening. So you could go there. It's called ashotofjoe.com. So it's ashotofjoe.com. So if you want to go on there, like I said, you can subscribe to that channel. I put up new videos pretty much every week, kind of keep you up to date on what's going on. Now, if you want to get a little deeper into this, I created a membership program, which is a way for you to get support and stay connected at basically just very reasonable, just to keep everybody moving forward. If you want to take a look at it, the website for that is highergroundnow.com. So it's highergroundnow.com. There's a 15-day free trial. You get $1,500 in bonus programs. I send out a weekly audio message of what's happening. There's also a monthly live webinar. You get access to all the library of trainings, and there's a new business section that I just added because I want to also really focus. I think right now it's very important that we're going to be using these higher energy principles in business. And I think it's very important right now that we go down that road. So I think that's going to be a really critical thing for us to do. So that's all in there. So if you want to try it out, like I said, there's a 15-day free trial. You go to Higher Ground Now, and you'll be able to do that. So I got some questions I want to get to here. Again, if anybody has a question, please put it in the question box, and I will be happy to answer those questions and be able to go through as many as I can. So let me get through these. Let me go from the bottom up. The first one is Sonia, gratitude and faith, being more in tune with the here and now. Absolutely, 100% agree. Not a question, but definitely a good thought. Kevin, my friend Kevin, local here in the area. Meditation, you said set your intention. What exactly do you mean by this? That's a great question. So when you're meditating, you want to set your intent on what is it that you want to create. So think about it from the point of creation. So Kevin, you want to sit there and say, what do I want to create? And that is where you set your intention. So this is for your life, for the world, for yourself. I always look at it as I want to create. Of course, we want to create things for ourselves, but also to serve. So how do I serve? How do I help people serve? How do I help people as well? Again, I understand that I am going to receive as well. So that's a very important part of the situation to move forward. I have Renee over in San Diego. Somehow intuitively, I selected February 24th, this Wednesday, to move. Energy so in sync with a major life change. 100%. Renee, you could not have picked a better time to move right after this whole thing is rocking and rolling forward. So great, great decision. So that is really good. I'm just going to validate it for you. Really, really good. So I have Nadia in, I believe I think that's in India. And she said, how not to judge those that have hurt you greatly. Not easy. You know, this is one of the hardest things. It's not about judgment, because understand the people who have hurt us, they did that because they were in pain themselves. And they hurt us because that's the only way they knew how to deal with the situation. So it's about us first. I go through a process of clearing energy with people. I go through it all the time, and it's what I've been teaching people for many years. But the bottom line is you're going to be angry at first. There's always going to be anger in the beginning. And then after the anger could come the healing. So you have to allow yourself to be angry, and you have to let yourself go with this. You have to say, I'm angry about this. I need to flush the anger out. Until you get the anger flushed out, you will never be able to have compassion. So I actually have one of the videos in the membership is the 5 steps to compassion, to getting there. And it's one of those things where you've got to go through the process of the anger, and then only then, when you get through all that anger and all those feelings, then you can let it go. So I have another question from Kathy in Carson. What does this have to do with 222 portal? My son took his life from going down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. Why is the vaccine question part of this? Is it more division, as you can see? Is it more division, as you can see on the feed? Yes. What's happening is, first of all, I'm very, very sorry to hear about your son, and really, really sorry. And I think one of the problems that we have, and Kathy, I think all of us right now, I just want to send Kathy a blessing, because it's a horrible thing to lose a child, and I think it's just so painful. So I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm really sorry that happened to you. And one of the things I think that's important is we cannot get this is why I'm saying I don't want watching news and getting all caught up in this stuff. It's getting people crazy. So I think what we have to learn to do is, and it's a great question. What we have to learn to do is say, hey, you know what? I need to stay in my bubble and do what I feel is best for me. But what's happening because of the division that's being created is we're fighting each other. And we're saying, I'm right and you're wrong and I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm choosing X. You can choose Y. That doesn't make you right or wrong. So what's happened is we've lost the ability to say, it's okay for Joe to choose X and it's okay for me to choose Y, and we can still be friends. So this is why we're having so much trouble, because we're not allowing each other to say, hey, this is what I want to do and that's okay. And this is what you want to do and that's okay. But again, if we're looking at this clearly, it's important for us to look at it from a perspective and say, let me make an informed decision and not just follow the panic that has been spread. Because fear spreads very quickly energetically through people. And it really does. It really goes really, really fast. So, and fear, it's the old story. We used to see this in advertising and marketing when I was in advertising, which is, bad news travels 7 times faster than good news. It's the oldest story in the book, just because people are fear-based and negative. So we know that bad news travels fast. So if you want to get people afraid, it's easier. It's easier to get people to hate each other than to love each other. It's unfortunate, but where we are now. Now, I think as we go forward, that will not be the case. But I think it's easier to get people riled up, get them upset, and separate them. And this is what the negative forces have always wanted to do. So we can't allow that. Now, again, I do not judge you. If you say, I want to go do X, that's fine. I think that's where we've run into a problem. We're not allowing each other to say, hey, I'm choosing this and that's okay, and you can choose that and that's okay. And this is where I think we went down a dark road. And this is where we're getting ourselves in trouble. So You're My Energy, this is Renee in San Diego. You're My Energy synced without a word in March in 2012 at the San Diego Coaches Alliance. I do remember that. Before I moved here 7.5 years ago. Thank you, Renee. I'm glad that we synced. So again, I'm not, it's kind of like anything else. I may not sync with everybody, and you may not like what I have to say, and I'm okay with that. The bottom line is I'm just here to try to bring a different perspective and bring you, some different feelings and bring you some different energy. Now, the scroll, I'm trying to go through this. Let me see if I can get through this chat, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I would love to get to, but it looks like it is just too much. Let me see if I can get to a couple of these. I got a lot of hellos and how are you? And thank you very much, and that's great. Let me just go. Amazing to hear you take your power back. Me too. This never kept me locked out. That's somebody has. I just want to address one question, because somebody. YouTube has a lot of good videos about relieving energy. I just want to see someone that I know, I think, put one in here. I just want to address it because I think it's important. And certain people are saying, don't get the vaccine or get the vaccine. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you, do whatever you want. The bottom line is, is that the doctor, someone's saying a doctor I work with walked away from the medical field. Multi-billion-dollar pharma, basically is another issue. So, someone says I work with hospital workers who have been seriously traumatized from being on the front lines watching people die from this thing. Yes, people have died. And the bottom line is it is there. It is real. It does not, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but obviously, there are years, and again, I started researching all this and I had never done it before, but the bottom line is there are years that 50, 60,000 people die from the flu, and we never heard about it. We never saw that in the news. And one of the things that came out that was really interesting was the CDC posted something on their website that a natural holistic healer actually shared with me, and I was able to find it. And what they said was only 6% of the deaths were actually purely COVID. And other people maybe had it or got it later, but they were compromised or they were sick already and they died of different things. But they started to inflate these numbers. So we don't, like I said, we don't even know what's true. We don't even know what, we're getting fed so much misinformation, and so much of this has become a political issue. I think it's very difficult for us to really understand it. So I got a couple of more in here. I got my friend Matt from Valley Center. I'm not sure what that is, but great. What's the best way to get through the day without negative thoughts? Great question, Matt. It's Matt and PJ in San Diego. How are you guys? Happy birthday, Matt. I know it's your birthday today. Thank you for being here on your birthday. I feel honored that you decided to spend some time with me. So thank you so much. The bottom line is I think you have to police yourself. And the best way to get through the day without negative thoughts is don't judge people and don't resist. So the minute you go into judgment, you're going to go into negativity immediately. You're going to say, oh, that person's an idiot, or that person's, why are they doing that? And I am going to be upset. So that's where we, I think, go off the rails right away. So when you move yourself into a place of acceptance and you say, I'm in acceptance, I understand that I'm not going to agree with everything. I'm not going to judge everybody. I'm going to stay in my bubble and do everything I can do to be at my highest level of energy and vibration. I know any negativity that I allow to penetrate through into me is going to cause me pain. So to me, I don't want pain. So I do not want pain. So the bottom line is I don't want to be in pain, and I know that if I go into judgment or if I go into resistance, I'm going to go into pain. So, Matt, that is a great way to do it. Just every day, don't judge people. Good luck with that. Like I said, it's not easy, and that will stop you from being negative. It's a great, to me, it's been the ticket, and I work on it every single day. And believe me, I work on it every day, and I've been doing this for years, and it takes vigilance. One of the things, that's the word I use with people all the time. This takes vigilance in order to do this work at a high level. And I have Kate in San Diego. Today's talk really resonated once again, so thank you. Do you have any suggestions for releasing negative thought patterns, fear-based, judgment, jealousy? I'm fully aware of the boomerang effect and that we are all creators of our lives. So it gives me anxiety to have these thoughts lately. How can I release these for good? So the way to deal with all of this is every single thought, feeling, emotion, everything is based on emotions. So whatever is coming up is always going to be based on an emotion that you have not resolved. So the key is learning to identify and clear that energy. I actually have a course that's called Elevate Your Energy, Elevate Your Life, where I go through the whole process, which we don't have time to do now. But the bottom line is, for the beginning of the process, is to say, all of these are emotionally anchored in me, and anytime I get triggered, I am holding something emotionally that I have not dealt with. So that is why it comes up. So every time it comes up is an opportunity, Kate, to deal with it. If you want to, again, anybody wants to contact me, my email is joe@joenunz.com. I'll be happy to help you or see if I have some resources that can help you. But these are things that we must understand. We want to clear it at the core level. And I understand you're saying, how can I release it these for good? You release it at the core level when you understand that is the key to going forward. I can't just do it at a surface level with a Band-Aid. I've got to get down emotionally to what is the feeling that's triggering this for me, and that's going to be the key. So sit with it and say, where is this coming from? Where is this emotion coming from? Then you can drill down into the feeling. So Matt, again, my friend Matt, you get an extra question because it's your birthday. What's your opinion on how we can become aware of being aware? That's kind of like a little bit of a tricky question there. So awareness is about not being attached to the physical. So it's like the Jesus quote that I love, which is, I'm in this world, but not of this world. So the more I am attached to the physical world and more I am concerned about these things of the physical world and being right and judging and all this negativity that we all go through as humans, because we all have egos and we all have things going on, the more I am able to be in this world but not of this world, the more you will be aware. Because you realize you're really not from here, you're really at a higher vibration, but I'm so attached to the trappings of the physical world that I can't give it up, or holding grudge, being mad at people, or holding on to negativity. All those things stop you from being clear and from being aware. So that hopefully that will help you, Matt. I think it's a great question. So I got my good friend, who I have not talked to in a long time, Ann, over in Florida. And Miss Ann, how are you?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Great to hear you.
Yeah, great call tonight. I just, as you were answering some of the questions, I had a thought. You've said to stay in our bubble, which I've been doing a good job. I have to say, in December, I had 80% of all those health issues I was dealing with.
Yeah.
Have gotten 80% better, and I'm working on, I found something. So that's been huge to bring more clarity and help me to move forward. But during this intention time, I want to do it right, as I think everybody does. And I know that's not the right way to say it. But I'd really like to bring a relationship into my life, but when you're talking about putting that bubble around us and staying in our bubble, is this maybe not the right time for that kind of an intention? Should I be working towards those other things for myself and, you know, my career and my life, and maybe not be looking at a relationship right now? I mean, I definitely don't want somebody wearing a mask. Sorry, had to say it. Are you there? I can't hear you. Oh, no. Hello? Did I lose you? Joe? Hello? 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 I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Can you hear me? Oh, no, wait.
I can hear.
Hold on. Gotcha. You got me?
I got you.
Okay, something happened to my phone. Okay, so the bottom line is there is no such thing as a bad time for an intention. It's as long as your feeling is in alignment with that intention.
Okay.
So that's what you want to look at to say to yourself, is my feeling in alignment with that intention? Like, so the question becomes, why do you want the relationship? And that becomes your main question. And then what type of relationship do you want to create? Those are the main parts of intent, is to say, why do I want to create this? And what is my feeling about it? Because a lot of people will say to me, I want to create a relationship. And then they start doing it. And then all of a sudden they start going into a panic because they start saying, well, maybe I really don't want to create a relationship, or I'm afraid. So you have to really say to yourself, why do I want a relationship? What do I want? And exactly what type of relationship do I want to create? I think that's the key to the intent. But there is no bad time for the intention.
Okay. And that would be the same questions then for any area of my life I might look
Makes
at
no
right
difference.
now.
Right now it's pick whatever you want. You know, right now it's about very fast vibration in very pure intent. Whatever your pure intention is, as long as it's in a good space, it's positive, it's a positive intention. As long as that's where you want to go, then let it ride, because that's it. Don't be afraid. Just do it and let it happen. And there's no good, bad, right, wrong. It's just as long as it's in alignment with your pure and true self, that's going to be the key.
Okay, so actually it's probably the best time to look at every area
Absolutely
of my life and really see what I want.
Great,
okay, awesome.
Great time to do it. All right. Thank you, Ann.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you. Thanks.
Thank you,
Stay
dear.
safe.
All right, I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions. I think we're good. So anyway, I just want to say thank you so much. Great questions, great interaction. Everybody I see really, we got charged up here. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for being here with me. I am going to record this and render it and send it out later on and make sure everybody has it. Please feel free to pass this on to people you think would like it and enjoy it. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel as well. So everybody, I want you to be blessed. I want you to love yourself. I want you to be in your bubble. I want you to be the spiritual warrior. Do everything you can do to be your best self and keep putting love out there every single day. That's the way we're going to heal this, and that's the way we're going to go forward. So be blessed. I look forward to seeing everybody.